It is Sen versus Axslav. Sen, the monster that he is going to be up against the big underdog. I think
Sen's uniform and orange jumpsuit.
Dude, it is so.
Did he audition for Prison Break? Worst show ever.
It was, you know, when I was back in the day.
Everyone watching this because Greetorp loves Prison Break.
No, okay, so like back in the day, I loved Prison Break. I thought it was literally like one of the best shows of all time.
I heard his first season was awesome, man.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, everything was great. Then after season 2, it was just like, oh my god, why am I watching this thing? It was just terrible. And at the time, you know, I'm like, you know, I don't know much about film. I'm from the East Coast. What do I know about film or anything about that? I come over to the Hollywood side. I meet up with my girlfriend now, and she was a film major. And she's just like, you think this is a good show? And she tears it apart, and I'm just like, I have nothing else to say because like everything that she says is completely valid, and the show is complete garbage. And that's my spiel.
That's like really tough things to say.
That's my spiel. It's like, yeah, this is a terrible show. I don't know why I ever liked it, and it's actually the worst show in the world.
That's okay, Andre, because we have one of the best shows in the
world.
Boom! Especially with Sen versus Axslav.
Oh,
Sen,
remember, higher pitch. Come on,
Sen, our red Zerg in the bottom left corner, will be up against Axslav, the blue Protoss in the top right.
Yes!
Axslav is placing a pylon on the low ground, trying to see if he can avoid going for any kind of gateway expand. Very stubborn in this fact. But you know what's so good about Axslav's play recently? Is that I think he's understanding his own limitations. I watched him play PvZ against Idra, and now people say, you know, that's not that impressive. You know, he beat Idra in the open bracket. But Axslav, he's been showing lots of patience. He came one round away from qualifying for group play in MLG open bracket. Cut that out.
Sorry.
But he came one match away, and all of a sudden people are like, Axslav in pool play, wouldn't he get demolished or like, you know, all this stuff? But that's just another foreigner that could have went in. He fell one round short. And Axslav, I think, is because he understands what he can do and can't do as Protoss, and he's immediately trying to work it around. Look at him being so annoying, just cannon blocking and pylon blocking the entire ability of Sen to expand. And this has got to be so annoying as a Zerg player. Sen has to get out a couple lings out, but then, you know, he's got to pull drones as well. And I like this.
Yeah, obviously this is really, really good. You're trading not a lot of minerals for a lot of mining time. This is almost always better off, but the big thing you're losing out on is actually tech. You don't have that you're losing that opportunity cost, which is to get the gateway down super fast. So it's very minor, but obviously it works out in that fashion. You can still progress on a little bit further. You know, Axslav has had a big confidence issue in his past. I think that's the number one thing that actually kills him. Whenever I talk to him, you know, the first thing I mention is, hey, Axslav, how's your matchups? And the normal thing that he says is, PvT is horrible. He hates PvT. It's like one of his worst matchups. And he's just been having a lot of trouble. And then, you know, I'll talk to him later and I'll be like, oh my god, Zerg is impossible right now. And I really think he's his worst enemy at this point. If he just gets over that, he will be one of the most fantastic North American players, or even a better, you know, that top tier North American players. Right now, he's just, you know, struggling, I think, in this mid-tier North America.
Yeah, I mean, Axslav is not bad by any means, just because he hasn't been able to. Zerglings! Oh, they get this round on the probes. That stings. And now Sen's in. He's gonna be able to harass everything. Now this is not game ending. This is just very annoying, and Axslav can just deal with this very calmly. He is sending a lot of probes in pursuit. But you know, Axslav, the biggest thing is that he can't really do anything as long as these Zerglings are in. And, oh man, he's losing 2 Zerglings, and Sen's the one who keeps his units alive. Man, this is good micro from Sen.
Amazing micro from Sen. Not only that, he gets to see everything. I mean, this is a gigantic win from early game stage. Income tab is showing 28 to 27. They are even, but they're going to spread apart pretty fast here as the triple hatch threat, that triple inject, everything about it is so impressive. And Sen is going to be building 4 drones for every 1. Well, not quite. That's what Rotterdam always says. But he's going to be probably making, I think it's like 2.5 drones to every 1 probe that Axslav makes if he doesn't chrono boost.
Yeah. Oh, good trap from Axslav to really finish the deal, and all of a sudden Axslav now has a little bit more flexibility to do what he wants. He's compiled a good number of gas. Now Axslav has been playing a lot of Stargate in PvZ when I watched over his shoulder, and he's kind of been experimenting with a little pressure of that, but now that Zerglings are in, all these timings are really weird, and so he might have to really improvise from this spot. Look at that, he's going to place 3 gateways to make 4 with +1, but it's at a very interesting spot. It's at the natural right outside here.
Yeah, this isn't normally a place that you look to find gateways.
Wow.
And look at this, he actually has 3 gateways in the back here. Probably another gateway going down pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Look,
he's going for 8 gate.
No probes really on gas. He is just going to go mass zealots from here on out, and maybe sprinkle in a couple of stalkers here and there.
This is a variation of what Sake chooses to do and MC, where you go for a very low amount of gas and you just really punish with a huge amount of zealots. And it's just before they're able to get roaches out. And Axslav, you never know, man. If he micros really well, he might be able to do anything. But look at that control from Sen. Able to keep that queen alive, which is able to get another inject, and that can make all the difference.
But he is droning behind this. He got 5 additional drones, 53 to 36 harvesters. He might have over-droned right now, Frodan. It's going to be very difficult, but a round of roaches are coming out here. And now it's mass stalkers. I like this. So it's going to be a lot of stalkers. That's going to do a lot of DPS. Then he just keeps funneling a ton of zealots. Those are going to be the tanking units. And it's going to be very effective, but once those roaches pop out, I mean, it's going to really depend on whether or not he's able to kite all of these units.
Yeah, this is, again, a timing that Sen's not used to. He's forced to pull his drones immediately. Now, he does have roaches. His queen is pretty weak as well, trying to see if they can engage fully here, but the zealots are now working as well. 6 more roaches and 8 lings, as Sen is going to lose his 3rd hatchery. But I like this decision from Sen to pull his drones and immediately kind of evacuate. There's no point in trying to hold on to it if you can't defend it.
That's correct. But from here, Sen doesn't really have a big advantage. He does have, well, what he has to try to shoot for is the composition advantage, which is just a ton of roaches, like a huge amount of roaches, because your opponent doesn't have the ability to force field. It's still very difficult. We're going to see if he has what it takes to actually micro against this. He needs space, which he's doing right now, space to actually start working on those zealots so he can finally work on those stalkers.
Yeah, and Axslav still is not in the clear yet. He needs enough so that there's no surround possible on his stalkers, but he is playing very dangerously. Sen has spread his creep really well, and you can see Axslav trying to kite back as far as he can for more reinforcements, but Axslav is falling back at this point, as Axslav doesn't have that strong an economy. He's only got 39 probes and 12 stalkers onto the field. Sen looks like he's stabilizing. He's pushing the army completely back.
He has to push right now because his opponent is weakest right now. If he waits a little bit longer, there aren't going to be any critical upgrades that actually help him defend against some sort of stalker sentry timing. That's why he's pushing right now, and you can see the roaches just crushing the stalker so easily. That is the main DPS. I don't know how Axslav will defend against this.
Oh, and Sen finished his speed just in the nick of time to trap all the units. It doesn't even matter if the Zealots are able to engage straight up. Sen able to really trap all the units, and that should be able to destroy the remainers of this Protoss army. As you can see, the force field is going to actually help Sen be able to take on these Zealots and the Stalkers. The mineral line will be shut down. Axslav forced to pull his probes, and this natural shutdown is half the production of Axslav, as you can see. That as soon as Sen deals with all of this, now targeting the cybernetics core, Axslav, what can you really do from here? Because as soon as you lose the cybernetics core, you lose all your ability to deal with the roaches.
Yep, then it's just Zealots. And Zealots don't do too well against roaches in this position. The roaches trying to just go around here, but really Sen can do whatever he wants in this position. I mean, he is literally, you know, indestructible. He has so many drones. He was droning the whole time behind the 63 workers on the worker count at this point, and roaches are still doing a ton of damage over here.
This is just disgusting how much Sen's able to do damage-wise with these roaches. And you can see immediately he's getting everything he needs to just be successful in the mid-game, getting upgrades while still macroing and very comfortably spreading his creep. That was so key. I can't even begin to describe how important it was, especially when Sen needed to get those roaches to close the gap when the Stalkers were retreating. And now Axslav finally has stabilized. What is the damage done? You can see 21 workers have been killed, and he's only at 42. And barely enough to saturate his gases and his mineral lines. Axslav is stinging right now with all that pain.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Axslav doesn't have a clear transition to this either. Robotics facility on the way out right now. It needs to come out so much earlier. But now roaches are super strong. Sen can transition to anything he wants. He can go infestors, he can go mutas. Everything is the right decision at this point, as long as his opponent doesn't, obviously, just go to 200-200 unopposed.
Yeah, and you can see Axslav going to lose even more positioning as his pylon will be sniped, and Axslav will scout that third, but what can you really do about that third? Nothing. He's going for double robotics, which is kind of a Hail Mary, if you will. Yeah. But it's what Axslav needs to do. He needs something, because he has no answer to the mass roach that Sen is pushing out. He's pouring out 15 roaches. He's going to have 100 supply of roaches in just a minute.
It's pretty impressive considering the start that we had, but of course Sen is the drone king. We've seen him so many times do styles like this. But I like the double robo. That's really intelligent. You're basically saying, well, I know I'm super far behind. Let's hope that my opponent goes a very bad composition for Immortals, which is of course match roaches, and that's exactly what we see. And if I can get my Immortal count up to 5, well, I can be at like maybe 120 supply and hold off a 200 supply army with Force Shield and Immortals.
But critical supply block, as he's going to have to add on a lot more pylons. Axslav senses it as well. He's going to add more pylons, and you can see that he's going to squeeze out a couple units, but it might not be in time. There's a lot of roaches banking outside the natural. There's just way too many to engage directly. He's going to have to fall back to these force fields immediately. Sen starts working on the outer gateways, preventing any ability to warp in, and if he does, Sen will be able to crush the second base of Protoss. And even if Axslav holds this, he's going to lose an amazing amount of production as long as Sen can keep up his macro.
And there it is, the big push in. Force Shields are going to go down, very nicely protecting his Immortals. The one Immortal down all of the shield. It looks like it might go down. Yes, he will target down all the way. Axslav cannot stop the bottom half, though. All the units were directed up top.
My gosh.
And look at this. He might just go for the Nexus. He's not even going to worry about the units. He's Sen doesn't care, man, because he's remaxing in roaches and in infestors. This is super easy. And look at that. He just backs up. Sen, he's the cheekiest player ever, man.
Yeah.
When he knows he's ahead, he's just like, I'm going to play with you. That's what he did against Rain, if you remember, on Ohana.
And Neuroparasite and SCV, and that's just pretty much what Sen does. Axslav stabilized in supply while, able to really take on Sen's army, which is great, but he engaged in a spot where he sacrificed half his production, half his economy, and pretty much his ability to really keep this push up. So this push, if it doesn't win him the game, which is unbelievably difficult, but if Axslav makes it happen, I'd be going nuts, Andre.
I think so. Look at this, even pulling the drones. My God, Sen, you are a cheeky monkey, man.
Wow. He's saying, Axslav, get out of my game. Force Shields immediately, but gets the full surround. GG gets called. Sen takes game number 1 on Dual Sight in super convincing fashion. Man, Sen is so BM in an indirect way. Like,
well, it's like
he's not trying to like make you feel bad. He's just saying he's just playing with you. He's twisting you on his fork nonstop.
It's Terran has an advantage in taunting. I can do a sun with massive
I can drop
scanner
mules.
sweeps.
I can dance my Marines.
Exactly. What can they do? He can dance his Zerglings, maybe.
Yes, if you even make Zerglings.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
But very straightforward game. Sen, of course, playing absolutely fantastic. And that's that, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
just a superior player.
Love the timing from Axslav, but again, needs to show restraint sometimes. But the difficulty with that build is that if you don't do crippling damage, you're just far behind because you spent so much of your time not mining gas, and your follow-up is very limited. So it's very difficult for Axslav, and that's why you can kind of understand how he's like, okay, I might need to press in here, but he fell back knowing he couldn't do anything. Great job by Sen. Thank you to iBuyPower, the pre-assembled PC company where you can get your own computer. Don't have to do anything. They assemble it for you and just buy it on your own. Buy it all yourself, and parts included. Check them out at iBuyPower.com. We'll be back with game number 2 between Sen and Axslav. Find out what map it is and what happens after this break.